This conference will now be recorded.
So I just want to remind you that the call will be recorded and posted on the Chamber YouTube website a little later this afternoon. Also, members of the media have been invited to participate on this call as well. So we want to welcome our friends from the newspaper and from the TV stations that have chosen to join us today. The Chamber has a wealth of information located on the Chamber website at www.nacogdoches.org. Please take time to visit the page. And we'll begin with this morning with our featured presenter. I'm pleased to welcome this morning Ryan Ivey, the Director of Athletics at Stephen F. Austin State University. Upon being named Stephen F. Austin's University Director of Athletics in July of 2018, Ryan wasted no time in setting the ultimate goal for the department to become the best mid-major NCAA Division I athletic program in the nation. And if his body of work in college athletics is any evidence, he's certainly well on his way to accomplishing that goal on all of our behalf. He has an incredibly impressive resume of body of work at several outstanding colleges and universities in the Southwest. I believe he's a native of Kentucky. So Ryan, you and I share that. I was born in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. So it goes to show you at least two of us are truly outstanding in our fields on this call. It's obvious from reviewing his bio, he's made athletics better wherever he has served. It's interesting, Ryan's got a great philosophy, and I'd like to share that with you. He tells his students to behave yourself, stay out of trouble, be a good citizen, do well in the classroom, graduate, and leave the school better than when you arrived. That was the point of being a student athlete. You know, we could change the words just a couple of places there, and it would be a good philosophy for all of us to live by. Ryan is married to the former Cuddy Holt from Fayetteville, Tennessee, and then they have two sons, Jet and Ace. And it's my pleasure, Ryan, to welcome you to our weekly conference call. And I will tell you that I'm an extraordinary fan of athletics, both on the college and on the professional level. And learning that you are an enormous Tom Brady fan certainly helped you go up several notches on my. I see Dr. Gordon shaking his. I'll leave it at that. Good morning, Ryan Ivey.
Good morning, Wayne. Thank you so much for having me. And you know, I had the privilege and the honor to be a football student athlete at the University of Memphis, and I use that term loosely because I was a punter and a holder. I don't know if that counts as being a student athlete, but I was able to do it. But my claim to fame there is I held for Stephen Gostkowski, who was a longtime Patriot. I know you're a New England Patriot fan in yourself, and so I got to know the Patriots really well, following Stephen along that. So you and I have a lot of things in common, and certainly being from Western Kentucky, I know Fort Campbell well, and being at Austin Peay, I know Fort Campbell well from being really with our partnerships there with them from that standpoint. So I'm excited to be here today as well. I'm excited to be able to speak with you guys today about really what's going on from an athletics standpoint moving forward. When I was asked yesterday to really speak with you, one of the things that I think that's really first and foremost from an athletics department standpoint is the conference transition that we have going on right now. And I know many of you may be aware, and you certainly may not be aware at the same time, but Stephen F. Austin is leaving the Southland Conference at the end of this year. This will be our last year in the Southland Conference, and we'll be transitioning into the Western Athletic Conference. And so we're excited about that move and excited about the opportunity really that we have there moving forward. And so I wanted to kind of go through some slides and some presentation here with you just regarding our transition to the WAC. And so bear with me on this. I'll be honest with you. I've done a lot of Zooms. I've done a lot of Microsoft Teams, but I don't know that I've ever done a GoToMeeting on this. So give me just a second here to make sure that I can get all this squared away, but I think I probably can. And if I can't, Dr. Gordon can yell at me later. Nope, that's not it. Can you guys see that screen? Okay, I'm getting some thumbs up, so that's a good thing there. So I really wanted to go through and just first of all talk about the value of athletics really at SFA, and Any of you that have heard me speak before, and especially if you're in real estate, you understand the value of curb appeal. And I have said all along that athletics is curb appeal to the institution. And when you think about selling a house, you think about the opportunity that you have to make that first impression. And when you walk into that house and you see a front porch that is the paint is chipping, or the front porch swing is falling down, or the landscaping is not well maintained, you have an impression of that house before you even walk into it. And it's the same way here, I think, from an athletic standpoint as it relates to the institution. And we are that curb appeal. And so the opportunity for us from an athletics standpoint is to provide marketing, and there is no other marketing vehicle that can provide the same amount of exposure and awareness that athletics brings, especially from an SFA standpoint. We bring in, on average, over $250 million in advertising value equivalency to the institution. And then there was a recent study done by the University of Texas Longhorn Foundation on donor behavior that says that 76% of athletics donors also give to academics. And then another study from the University of Oregon, donors who are engaged in athletics and academics give more over time. So there's an opportunity there for us from an institution, again, to leverage athletics to help grow the institutional footprint from a donor development standpoint. Our student athletes graduate at a higher rate than the student body. Right here at SFA, our student athletes graduate at 12% higher rate than our normal students. And our student athletes, there's been studies on this, and again, display greater leadership in the classroom, community, and give back at a higher rate than non-student athletes. According to a recent Gallup study, 28% of student athletes give back versus 17% according to that study. And then athletics provides an avenue to increase engagement with alumni through fan avidity, university loyalty, alumni pride, and et cetera. And so as we talked about the opportunity to move into the Western Athletic Conference, it was important that we looked at what this meant for the value of SFA, and certainly the value that athletics could bring to the institution. And so when we made this decision, we looked at it from a sports sponsorship standpoint. And for us, we sponsor every sport from a men's standpoint outside of soccer, swimming, and tennis that the WAC sponsors. So we knew at that point in time we weren't going to have to add any sports on the men's side, which helps us from a Title IX perspective. On the women's side, we sponsor every sport that they sponsor outside of swimming, plus we have bowling and beach volleyball. And so we knew from that standpoint we were in good shape on the women's sports sponsorship, and so that was important to us, especially from a financial consideration aspect of it. And so when we looked into the financial considerations, we looked at the fact that the Western Athletic Conference distributed $100,000 to its members, and that's per member in the 19-20 year. Obviously, our new membership structure is going to affect that level of distribution moving forward. But the reality of it is any distribution that we get from the conference is more than we get right now, which is zero. And so it was important for us to have that opportunity. The television agreement expires for the Western Athletic Conference after this current year. And with Abilene Christian, Sam Houston, Stephen F. Austin, and Lamar, with our web streaming capabilities, we bring significant value when negotiating a new television agreement. And we believe that the increased revenue is a real possibility in the near future for the Western Athletic Conference. For a Southland standpoint, these four institutions represent about 70% of the televised contest throughout the entire conference moving forward. So we believe that our valuation with the four of us is roughly about $2 million as a whole. And so we're bringing that valuation over to the Western Athletic Conference as well. The new academic distribution formula was important to us because it's greater in the Western Athletic Conference than it is in the Southland, and the fact that 75% of the units earned to that school will receive it versus the 50-50 share that we currently have in the Southland Conference. We did understand that travel costs for men's and women's basketball will likely increase with our crossover weekends that we'll have, but our long-term revenue potential, conference reputation, and brand equity provide a huge upside for men's basketball and women's basketball for that matter right now, especially in the fact that Cal Baptist women's team went undefeated this year moving forward. So we'll certainly have our work cut out for us there as well. Travel costs for all other sports should remain neutral with our divisional play and limited crossover travel. And then we'll have some one-time costs of changing out logos at facilities, playing surfaces, on our playing surfaces, signage, banners, et cetera, from that standpoint. So all in all, when we looked at it, we believe that our travel costs from a conservative estimate would increase about 25%, or roughly $324,000. We had some one-time expenses of $50,000 with total projected increases of $374,000. So our recurring revenue potential would be conference distribution of roughly $100,000, projected increase in self-generated revenues, academic formula enhancement revenue, new television contract gave us projected increase in revenue of roughly $632,000, which gave us a net position of a positive $258,000 in moving to this conference. And so a lot of people ask us, why move? Aren't you going to have additional costs, those type of things? And so we really did a deep dive financial analysis on that for us moving forward, and really believe that we're going to be from a positive standpoint moving forward. The institutional impact that it's going to have moving to the Western Athletic Conference, it will create an opportunity to raise the institutional profile, provide entry into and exposure into new markets. We're just going to provide an association with institutions with significant growth and success stories. When you think about the institutions that are in the Western Athletic Conference, Utah Valley has 41,000 students. Grand Canyon has 22,000 students on campus, but 100,000 students total with their online population. You know, Tarleton State has grown 564% in the last decade. So there are really there are institutions within that conference that are growing at a higher rate than what Stephen F. Austin is. And I know that Dr. Gordon's vision is to make sure that we have the opportunity to help grow this institution. And again, the question always comes to, how are we leveraging athletics to help that institutional growth? It expands the footprint to learn from other like-minded, forward-thinking institutions, and our Division I brand equity will be greatly enhanced through the WAC name recognition and the men's basketball net ranking success. So I'm just going to kind of go through a little bit on our announcement that we made when we made the announcement to move on January 14th, and just kind of give you some highlights of that I think really provides an example to what I just talked about. On that day alone, our social strategy, we had 498 posts. We garnered 6.1 million impressions from those posts. We had 38,000 total engagements. We had an increase of 107% growth in followers and just over 12,000 total interactions moving forward. We created a microsite for that as well, which showed us 1,700 unique visitors on that day for that microsite alone, and 2,800 slide views for us as well. We created a ticket package strategy for 21 hours. Which we were able to leverage to create additional revenue for us. And this one I thought was really important. This is our campaign exposure that we had, and this is in millions from an add value equivalency standpoint. So from that day alone, on January 14th, when we announced it, we had $234 million worth of add value equivalency. And then the next day, the following day, we had $101 million versus add value equivalency moving forward. Again, that was just for those 2 days. Just about the announcement moving forward. So I think it's really important, again, the WAC reputation and the brand equity that we have within that conference is really important to us. We saw a domestic footprint in which we hit every state outside of the ones in gray here. So apparently the Dakotas don't have internet yet. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. Moving forward, but and then Wayne, your buddies in the Northeast there didn't help us out either, but we'll figure out how to get in that moving forward. And then globally, we hit on this as well, and you can see kind of the global footprint that we had with this announcement. And so it was really important for us. Again, we recruit international student athletes, and so when you look at the opportunity that we had to get into some of these global markets, I think was important to us as well from a recruiting standpoint. The next portion here that I have is, and I know you guys are really involved in the community, and one of the things that we talk about, as Wayne talked about a little bit from a bio standpoint, is for our student athletes in our department to really be engaged in the community, and that's really important to me, and it's really important to me because I believe that it creates a holistic student athlete. And I tell our student athletes all the time, and our coaches, look, at the end of the day, winning is really important. Okay, we are in a results-oriented business, and people on the outside, for the most part, are going to judge us based on the wins and losses. And we are just in a public-facing industry and enterprise, and there's nothing that we can do about that, and it is what it is. But winning cannot be the only thing that drives us. If winning is the only thing that drives us, then it's never going to be enough. We're never going to win enough. We're never going to beat teams by enough. We're never going to win enough championships. It's never going to be enough, and it's always going to be empty for us, and we're always going to be chasing things. So what are we doing from a departmental standpoint to take 18 to 22-year-olds? And again, I remember my decision-making paradigm when I was 18 to 22, and it wasn't very good, right? And so what are we doing to develop holistic students, student athletes that are going to become better people, better husbands, better fathers, better mothers, better wives, productive people of society moving forward? And I think those are the most important things that we can do. Again, nobody likes winning more than I do. In fact, I hate losing more than I like winning. But at the end of the day, the most important thing that we can do from an athletics department standpoint is to use the avenue that we have through intercollegiate athletics to develop people. And so some of the things that I'm going to talk about here on the next few slides are things that I think you guys could do from a community to help us with that as well. We have launched our job opportunities boards, and this is in coordination with our game plan module. That this page serves as a platform for local Nacogdoches businesses and employers to seek out potential student athletes if you need internships or jobs following graduation. And this is really important to us because, again, we want the opportunity for our student athletes to have internships, to have opportunity to have gainful employment once they graduate moving forward. And what we know from a student athlete standpoint is student athletes become great leaders. They already know teamwork, they already know perseverance, they already know determination, they have strong work ethics, they have the opportunity and the skills that most employers are looking for moving forward. And so what I would ask here for everyone really on this page and moving forward, if you have opportunities, send those to us. We'd love to post those on our job opportunities boards so our student athletes, especially as they continue to graduate and start this opportunity really for their career moving forward, we can certainly put that on there. Our JAX Grow program, and that's growing relationships and opportunities, is a network of men and women expected to uphold the core values of scholarship, leadership, equality, service, integrity, sportsmanship, tenacity, and resilience. And so we are looking for mentors, and that's what this program is about. It's about a mentorship program for our student athletes and for the communities. So if you or someone in your within your units or your respective organizations are looking to be mentors, we would love to be able to pair you off with some of our student athletes and to help them. And I can tell you, we started this program when I was at Austin Peay. Brandy Bryant, who's our associate AD for student athlete services here, started this program. She brought it here to SFA, and she is a product of a program like this when she was a student athlete at the University of Memphis. And she can tell you firsthand just the importance of student athletes having a mentor and how that helps them really throughout the day. And so if you're interested in that, we'd love to be able to have you be a part of that as well. And then some of our student athlete development initiatives that we have, like I told you earlier, it's really important for us to be able to create a holistic development for our student athletes, is our senior seminar. So all student athletes will attend this seminar. The purpose of this event is to provide seniors with practical scenarios they will experience after they graduate college. And so we go through interviews, we go through all these things, resume building, resume writing, things that they're going to need, skills that they're going to need to have once they graduate. And so if you're interested in participating in that, we'd love to have you as well. Our etiquette dinner. I don't know how many of you guys know which fork to go from, outside in, all those things when it comes to that. But again, it's important that our student athletes, who a lot of them may be coming from, from low income families, they're first generation college students, and they haven't had the opportunity to be at quote unquote fancy dinners. And what does that look like? And so how do we help them, and how do we put them in position so when they are out on that job interview and they do go to Fredonia Steakhouse or their public steakhouse, you know, having the opportunity to understand what that is and understanding how really to go through that dinner and feel confident in themselves moving forward. And so we do that for them as well. And then financial education seminars, I think providing the opportunity for financial literacy is one of the most important things that we can do for our student athletes. The reality is some of them, a very small percentage of them, are going to have the opportunity to play professional athletics, but that is a small percentage of them. The majority of our student athletes, probably 98% of them or greater, will not play professional athletics. And so what are we doing to help them become financially solvent on their own once they leave SFA? How do we help them from a personal budget standpoint? How do we help them understand how to invest? Those type of things moving forward. And so we're always looking for opportunities to partner with financial institutions to help come in and speak to our student athletes about the importance of financial solvency for them as well, and being independent, I should say, moving forward. Because a lot of our student athletes, they've never had a checking account, right? They've never balanced a checkbook. They've never had the responsibility to do that. And what does that look like? And so we're trying to provide those opportunities for them. And then our peer mentoring program, this is something that we do internally with our student athletes. All of our freshmen and/or incoming student athletes, we pair up with upperclassmen. And again, it's really an opportunity for our student athletes to help each other, to get to know each other, to support one another moving forward, to help underclassmen or someone coming in that's new to campus, that's new to SFA, that's new to Nacogdoches. Our upperclassmen really take them under their wing and help guide them through campus and through the nuances that they have from that transition standpoint as well. So that's really what I had today, and really what I wanted to kind of visit with you about. I thought it was important, again, that we talked about the WAC transition and the importance that we have, because I know there are a lot of questions surrounding that, but then also the opportunity to really to show you guys some of the great things that we have going on that we think the community could really get engaged with us, and we would like to do that really from a community standpoint as well. So again, I'll stop there, take any questions that you may have, but again, it's really important for us that we are doing our part to support our community because this place is really, really special for us.
Well, thank you, Ryan. And well, we're indeed fortunate to have you at the helm of athletics at this very important time of transition for the athletic program there. And that was a really impressive presentation, and certainly opened my eyes to some opportunities to partner in the future between the chamber and certainly your goals with mentoring and internships and other things. So we'll talk about that offline. Any questions of Mr. Ivey? Well, it looks like you've answered them all, Ryan. That's good news. Ryan, any final thoughts? Any final thoughts, Ryan?
Yeah, so thank you, Wayne. Again, certainly appreciate the opportunity to visit with you guys. And again, I would tell you this, I can tell you as a former student athlete, there's nothing more exhilarating than playing in front of a full crowd, and then there's nothing more disheartening than playing in front of an empty one. So if you have the opportunity to come and support our student athletes and show up, and whether that's football, basketball, soccer, baseball, softball, whatever sport that it is that you may like to certainly come, tennis, whatever it is that you may like to come watch, we certainly encourage you to do that. Our student athletes put in countless amount of hours on the competition surface, honing their craft, trying to do things to certainly achieve success at a high level so that we can represent SFA and the entire Nacogdoches community in a really positive way and positive environment on a national stage. And so we would encourage you guys to come support them as much as you can. They are great student athletes. They're doing some really amazing things. Every once in a while, we get a few knuckleheads that make some 18 to 22-year-old decisions, but at the end of the day, we've got some really good student athletes who are doing some really good things, and I believe are going to make a positive impact on this world. And so I would encourage you to get to know them as much as you can, and certainly support them whenever you can as well.
Well, thank you, Ryan, and we'll certainly do our best to fill those seats. So thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
And Ryan, you're certainly welcome to stay with us. The next fellow you're probably familiar with on the phone. I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Scott Gordon, the president of Stephen F. Austin State University. Good morning, Dr. Gordon.
Well, good morning, and good morning, everybody. And Ryan, thank you for that tremendous presentation. You know, Ryan is doing a great job, and we've got a tremendous group of coaches and student athletes that really I'm extremely proud of. And you know, Ryan and I, we're both former student athletes, and we have the same philosophy from the great philosopher and theatrical masterpiece, Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby, who said, if you're not first, you're last. And so we want to be the best, we want to be the first, and we hate to lose in anything we do. So it's great to have Ryan at the helm. Just a couple of updates from the university. As many of you now know, the governor came out with his new appointments to the Board of Regents, which is our governing board that helps to lead the institution, and in concert with myself. Dr. Laura Rechtenwald is one of our new regents, and she's from the Longview area and owns Titanium Environmental Services, and we're excited to have her on board. She's a SFA grad. And of course, we have Nancy Wyndham, who's on the call with us today, and we're excited for Nancy, who is also an alum, and to have her on the board. And Robert Flores, I don't know if Robert's on the call, but everybody knows Robert with Elliott Electric, and an alum as well, and he has been reappointed to the board. So we're very excited to get the board back, this new board in place. And I believe, I don't know, Nancy, if you've heard or not, if it's going to be April or July, but sometime soon we'll have the new board members in place, and we'll be working hard to get the university to be first, just like Ricky Bobby said. And the other thing that we're working on is continuing our Distinguished High School Partnership Program. Next week, we are going to be in the Dallas area. I can't give you all the information, but we're going to be in the Dallas area where we'll announce our next Distinguished High School Partner. You might have seen in the newspaper, actually, I don't know if it was in the newspaper yet, but this past week, we visited Langham Creek High School in just outside of Houston in the Cypress Fairchild area, and announced them as a distinguished partnership high school, and had a tremendous visit there. So we've got a lot of exciting things happening, and enrollment growth is number one on my list, and I have made it number one on everybody's list. And so we're excited for the fall, when we hope to achieve our 5% enrollment growth, which you know, Ryan mentioned over the last 12 years, we haven't had any enrollment growth. If we can reach this 5% growth, that'll be more enrollment growth in the last 12 to 15 years combined. So we're excited about that. And that's it for today, and I'll take any questions.
Any questions of Dr. Gordon? Just a comment.
One last thing I'll mention is we, within the next week to 10 days, we'll be unveiling our new COVID protocols. I think it's going through several different channels right now, but beginning in the summer and again into the fall, we may be revamping some of our COVID protocols. But until the end of the semester, masks required, social distancing required, and we have enhanced cleaning in place. So we'll let the community and the university know when a decision is made on how we move forward for summer and fall.
Well, I'll be anxious to see what you folks develop for protocols on that. We did a survey last month, Dr. Gordon, and 60% of the businesses responding, Kelly was telling me this morning, indicated they're not going to make any immediate changes in their protocols, which require masks and social distancing. So I think that's interesting. I'll be interested in seeing what you do. I also just want to mention in passing, Dr. Gordon, in my Facebook page, I've received multiple hits on the aviation program from the folks from HCH and the university, and it looks like we're actively recruiting students.
We are. We have a webinar every week about the aviation program, and we've been having sometimes upwards of 20 students who have been logging in with their families and talking with our chief flight instructor. So we're pretty confident we're going to have a full class beginning this fall. That program will only grow.
That's fantastic. Well, congratulations to all involved on that. That's a great program. Well, moving on, I'm pleased to welcome the president and CEO of the Nacogdoches Economic Development Corporation, Larissa Philpott, to give us a NEDCO and hopefully a city update.
Hi, Wayne. Yes, I'm going to give an update from Mario Canizares. He is in another meeting right now. So just a bunch of things going on at the city, but there is a bunch of long-range planning that the city is partaking in. A couple of weeks ago, the city council encouraged staff to continue on with a pretty aggressive list of new plans and forward-thinking studies. One of those that Chief Kiplinger presented to the City Council last week, I believe, was a fire station relocations or fire station location study. And this study was commissioned in light of changing development patterns. I think the last fire station that the city of Nacogdoches built was sometime in the 80s. And you can imagine that housing and commercial development and industrial development patterns have changed since that time. Along with that, we've got I-69 coming in soon. And so that will continue to change our development patterns. If you think about the fact that fire stations are built to last about 50 years, we need to start thinking into the future and start thinking about where the best place is for all of those plans. I'm not going to go into that study because it is extremely detailed, but just let you know that it did happen. The City Council did hear that, and the study is on the city's website if anybody wants to take a look at it. Additionally, our city planner, Elena Chafin, issued a request for qualifications for a comprehensive plan and a downtown master plan. That comprehensive plan includes a lot of things. It includes a corridor study for the I-69 corridor. It includes a request to kind of name some areas that we would further study with some small area plans. And it also would include a housing needs study. So taking a look at our existing housing stock, determining what we have, what we'll need in the future. So essentially, we've got a lot going on as far as planning goes right now and what's coming in the future. That request for qualifications did close, I think, last week. And I believe we received, sorry, I have it in my notes here. I think we received proposals back from at least 8 firms, if not more than that. So we've got a big group to choose from. So Elena hopes to bring a final firm to the City Council in kind of the late spring, early summer. So look forward to that. One thing I do want to talk about specifically with all of these plans is they include public participation. So the city and NEDCO and just everybody will be reaching out to the chamber to ask you guys to all participate in this, because these are not written by consultants in a room alone. They are written, and they're not written just in communicating with the City Council. They are written through a large public participation process. We want that this is the community's plan. It's going to look that process will look a little different due to COVID, but I'm kind of excited about that. We've needed to do a better job of reaching folks that don't come out to meetings, and I think this will be a great way for us to engage in that here at NEDCO and at City Hall. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about that. Also, let me do my NEDCO report real fast. We do have an entrepreneurship academy for our Spanish speaking business owners on April 19th. And then we have our restaurant week. Our first ever restaurant week will be June 21st to June 27th. So when you're making your meal plans, plan to not buy groceries that week and go out to eat every night that week to support our local restaurants in support of this hard last year that they've had. And that is my city and my NEDCO report, Wayne.
Thank you, Larissa. Any questions, Larissa? Great. Well, we'll look forward to participating as necessary in your study. So I'm pleased to welcome this morning Betty Rousseau, the regional representative for Governor Greg Abbott. Good morning, Betty. I did see her a little earlier. Well, apparently Betty is not with us right now, so we'll move on. I'm pleased to welcome Sherry Morgan, the director of the Nacogdoches Convention. Excuse me, Visit Nacogdoches. There we go. Old dogs are hard to teach new tricks, Sherry. Sherry,
well, you are handsome and trainable. So thank you, Wayne, and good morning to everybody. We had a super awesome, great turnout for last Friday's Snack Friday outside in the Plaza de Principal. And we are so pleased that the community is receiving that event that takes place the fourth Friday of every month. We just get so much positive feedback. And so this has been a good sort of introductory event back into the opening up of things here. So look forward to our next one. And kudos to Joanna Temple. It is a combined effort between Visit Nacogdoches and Nacogdoches Main Street, but the person doing the lion's share of the hustle and work in that is Joanna Temple. So when you see her, give her a big COVID-friendly pat on the back or something along those lines. Maybe just shout from 6 feet away that you're proud of her, because we sure are. Coming up next for us that I want to put on your radar, because we are actively seeking some generous sponsors, is our Full Moon Summer Concert Series. On Memorial Day weekend, we will be having the band Already Gone, which is an Eagles tribute band from the Houston area. They have a huge following. We're going to be down in Festival Park. We're going all out, where there'll be beer and wine sales, food trucks. It will be a true event. So if you are making your plans currently for Memorial Day, you might not want to get too far from Nacogdoches, because there's going to be a lot of fun things happening. Stay tuned on all of our social media channels, Visit Nacogdoches, and our website for more information to come. But we're welcoming spring. We welcome the yellowing that we see around. We're so proud of our strong little azaleas that are peeking through despite what we saw around Valentine's Day, and the visitors are certainly answering the call to action to come see what we have a knack for. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Sherry. And I'm looking forward to that Eagles tribute band. That'll be a lot of fun. I don't see Gary Lee on the phone, right? I just want to double check. I'm pleased to welcome Les Linebarger, the Communications Director for the Nacogdoches Independent School District. Good morning.
Good morning, Wayne. Good morning, everyone. It's good to see all of you. Just a couple of things to mention. Good Friday, this Friday, is a school holiday for students and staff, so our campuses will be closed. Our men's soccer team won their bi-district playoff last week, and now they face Midlothian at 7:45 p.m. tonight in White House. That's an area playoff. And then I just want to let everyone know that construction continues on some of our large bond projects in the district. We're seeing progress at Emmeline Carpenter, McMichael Middle School, and the new CTE center at the high school. And it's reached that, I know it's making progress because it's reached those stages of the projects to where things are happening, but you can't really see it because there's so many of the number of details that have to be tended to finish out these schools and facilities. So we're all excited about that. And then something I want to mention that we will be promoting more as we get closer to June. Last fall, we opened our new transportation center, and it was the first project funded by the bond that was completed. And the end of August was not a good time to have a gathering of many, many people because of the pandemic. So this June, even though we'll be getting close to it being a year old, we're going to hold a grand opening for that transportation center. It will be on Thursday, June 10th at 10 a.m. And we'll communicate more of that out as we get closer to it. But I want to begin now mentioning this because we want you all to come out and take a look at this great facility that the voters of Nacogdoches supported so strongly back in 2018. And it has changed the way we do business with all of our dozens of school buses. But Wayne, that's all I've got for today, unless someone has a question. Any questions of Les? Les, I go by that facility almost every day, and I got to tell you, it's impressive. It's an impressive facility. You should be very proud of that. And certainly Chamber will do what we can to help promote that with a ribbon cutting if you need or anything else. Let us know. I sure will. Thank you, Wayne. You're quite welcome. I'm pleased to welcome Jessica Sowell, the Communications Director for the City of Nacogdoches. Good morning, Jessica. Well, apparently she dropped off. I saw her a little earlier, I thought, but there you go. Well, folks, this concludes my part. I just want to remind you there are a few things on the horizon. We will have an Eggs and Issues the latter part of April, which will feature the presentation on the Texas Blueberry Festival and also the Blueberry Concert in the Park. And that will come up, I think, about April 22nd or someplace around there. Want to let you know the planning is going on for that, and it's working out real well. We hope you folks have a great and successful week, and we'll look forward to talking with you next week. Any announcements or anything anybody has? If not, we will conclude the call. Thank you very much, folks.